happy Monday, everybody. Mark again here, WeatherMan Plus. I'm going to give you updates on the tropics. I'm still showing the same information I said days ago, as well as what's going on with the invest over here in the southeast. Because as you can see, it's still brewing up a lot of storms, and there is a chance for it to overachieve and get some chances for tornadoes for today. And if you've never been here before, make sure you subscribe. I am all year long. All I ask is if you know somebody in these impacts, please share this on social media or hit the like button. Help get this information out to more and more people. Thank you for your time. And remember, all the links are in the description to help save you time. Now, as you look at the winds, you can see you have them come from the south into the north. You also got them from the east coming to the west. And this is going to keep feeding this system as it goes across South Carolina and North Carolina. And as you look at just the last 6 hours run, you can see we do have our invest up here. We still have all this energy over here by the peninsula, and this is going to keep going to the west, southwest, just like we anticipated. After that, it is going to move back north, just like we anticipated. This dry air, this dust is still going to be until the 27th. But then we have a cold front coming down that could suppress it a little bit longer. Also, it could move it a little further to the east. And we also have this wave right here moving into the Caribbean. This is the next wave coming. Plus, we have another wave that's already coming off the coast of Africa. And there is another spew of dust that is coming through. And it is going to prohibit any formation of this until it gets away from it. But this dust is not going to be as strong as what we're getting now. And the track on your invest, it is still going to be right over South Carolina and Georgia. And as it goes to 48 hours, it'll be moving past North Carolina towards Virginia and going out into the Atlantic. And it was real close to forming something in the Gulf. Another day out there, who knows? It's probably pretty debatable. But as you can see, it's going to be weakening down as it goes towards 48 hours as it goes off into the Atlantic. There's a couple members that says it could become a tropical storm. Majority of them says it will stay weak as it moves along. Well, like I said, it could bring potential tornadoes with it, because as it keeps swirling around, it does bring that potential. But as you go towards the 48 hours, you see it gets multiple bands underneath this system as it moves along, and it will be going off into the Atlantic Ocean, weakening down as it goes. Maybe one last banding right here as you get towards Tuesday afternoon. Plus, you still have this surface low right here over Texas, and this will be going up to the upper Midwest, and that's bringing you chances for tornadoes today as this moves along through Texas. As you go through tomorrow, it will bring you chances for frontline storms as this bursts down from Texas all the way into Arkansas, and I will go over that tomorrow. I'm going to keep it day by day on the severe weather. Now for today, you will have thunderstorms in all of this green. You do have chances for tornadoes right here over the southeast because what's going on with that invest. Plus over here over Texas because what's going on with that surface low as it goes up on that high ridge. You have chances for winds and chances for hail as well. But your tornado threat for today is a 2%, and it's for San Antonio, Texas, Austin, Texas, Lubbock, Texas, Tallahassee, Florida, as well as Savannah, Georgia. And starting around 10 o'clock in the morning, you can see how it winds up and goes over South Carolina. And it gets some nasty banding right here, pushing out, as well as a second band that's trying to form. This is going to be potential problems as well. Because you can see with the wind shear that it's not really getting a lot of shear yet. But as it continues to move through South Carolina and goes towards North Carolina and starts getting them winds coming from the east to the west, then it's going to start growing your chances for your wind shear to create a threat for tornadoes. Now this is around 4 p.m. mostly for South Carolina and North Carolina. But you can see these cells right here as they move through from 4 p.m. all the way to 6 p.m. It is bringing a nasty little squall line of storms, but the shear moves from South Carolina over to North Carolina as you go through the afternoon. Then it dies off. Not a lot of shear in those storms as it passes through. All the storms are down here. The winds are up here. So you do have a lot of storms that will be passing through all evening long. It will leave South Carolina with a threat for the tornadoes after 6 p.m. By 7 p.m. it's going to go into North Carolina as well. And there will be a chance, just a slight chance, that you could get something, a little quick spin up out of these cells as they come through. You see how it goes from nothing on this cell, then it gets some bad shear, then it goes to nothing. So it will be a quick spin up if it does get a tornado out of these cells. And that's all the way till 10 o'clock at night. And the latest run on HRRR shows you could get some 50, even 60 miles per hour wind gusts in these cells as they pass through all evening long. Goes into South Carolina by 3 and 4 o'clock, stays till 6, and then it goes into North Carolina. Chances for tornadoes. Got damaging winds on the south side, chances for tornadoes on the north side. But you can see each one of these cells has 50 and 60 miles per hour wind gusts with it as it comes through all evening long. So just be aware you do have chances for damaging winds coming with this storm as it pushes through. Now this will bring a lot of heavy flooding, not only for Texas and the South Central, but it also will bring some heavy flooding for y'all as well. Now a lot of this rainfall is needed because all your ground is really dry from not having hardly any precipitation, but this will be a lot at one time. Could cause flash flooding, especially for North Carolina. And it's mostly going to build up tonight all the way until tomorrow for North Carolina, getting over 2 inches of rainfall. Some spots even getting potential 3. This is from National Weather Service. This is all the way until tomorrow evening as it goes across into Virginia, which it brings 1 inches plus as well, and upstate South Carolina from 1 to 2 inches of rainfall. But mostly it's showing North Carolina could get the heaviest of the rainfall. But when you check your wind direction change with height, your helicity tracks, which shows you where you could get some long-lived cells. You can see mostly it goes through a little bit of central Georgia as it goes through upstate South Carolina with chances for long-lived cells. Chances for tornadoes on that cell I showed you. It gets that shear. Then as it goes through North Carolina, it weakens down with the chances for a tornado. But so far from 3 to 5 p.m., South Carolina right on the edge of the upstate could get a chance for a long-lived cell passing through with a chance for a tornado. It does have some wind shear with it. Just be aware. Also for Texas, as you go into this afternoon, 2 and 3 o'clock, you're starting getting a lot of storms. Now, these storms are going to be mostly dangerous for northern Mexico because y'all have the worst chances I can see to getting a tornado, maybe the panhandle for Texas. But these are some serious cells going through northern Mexico. But right around 7 and 8 o'clock tonight, you're starting getting a nasty cell going through the panhandle of Texas. And it is getting a lot of shear on it. You're getting some on these cells down here as well. I'm not seeing these as a big grouping that spots out a tornado. This right here with the heavy precipitation does have a good chance to get a chance for a tornado all the way to 9 and 10 o'clock at night. It does keep shear on that cell all the way until then. You can see how the cells pop up. And then it gets a lot of shear on the cells. And then the cells kind of calm down right after that. So it does calm down right around 9 p.m. But until then, it gets some heavy precipitation on these cells for the panhandle of Texas as it passes through. And you can also see with the helicity values for Texas and Mexico that the worst ones say, hey, there's a chance for a tornado for northern Mexico today. But there is a cell that passes through the panhandle of Texas right around 5 and between 4 and 6 p.m. You get a nice little long-lived cell that could spin up a tornado on it. So it is getting some shear around that time. There's a strong cell with heavy precipitation at that time. And it is getting wind direction change with height. Just be aware. But it is bringing some damage in winds as you go to 3 and 5 o'clock. Once you get around 6, you start getting up to 50 miles per hour wind gusts. This 70 is down here in these cells, but it don't last long. But then it stays around 50 and 60 all evening long with these cells as it pushes through. So just be aware you do have some damaging winds coming, chances for hail in those strong cells, as well as a tornado that could spin up. And the one for southern Texas could get all the way to 60 miles per hour wind gusts as it passes through later this evening from 10 to 12 o'clock. And it does get a little stronger in the winds. Just be careful. But be aware, after that system comes through for Tuesday for the South Central, it is going to bring some heavy flooding all the way until Wednesday evening. 2 to 4 inches of rainfall is expected with that storm. It is going to be a nasty little storm, and it is going to have some wind gusts with it as well. But a lot of heavy rainfall coming. I know y'all need rainfall. Y'all been in a big drought, but your ground is literally brick hard. So this will cause a lot of flash flooding. You have rain coming, but it is going to be a lot at one time. Now, just like I showed you with the data that this modeling was going to disappear as soon as the models catch up with the data, and it did. And I'm still showing with the data that this is still going to come back after this dry air suppresses it down to the south-southwest, strengthens the cyclone in the Pacific, then it's all going to move to the north after it hits on Mexico. All this energy is still going to bottle right up against the Yucatan Peninsula. And you can see with the current flow that it's still going to move west-northwest all the way until the end of the month. Now, whether it still goes to the east-northeast or whether it carries to the western Gulf of Mexico, there's a couple different scenarios and some different outcomes according to what I see, as well as the Farmer's Almanac. If you follow the Farmer's Almanac, it is a very accurate almanac. I will leave you the link so you can read about it yourself. As well as what's the setup for when this energy comes not only from the one from the Pacific and heads north, the other tropical wave coming at the same time. This is all going to meet up. And you can see the temperatures getting really warm for the Western Caribbean as well as the Gulf of Mexico. And as you go towards the end of the month where this is going to meet up timing-wise around the 1st through the 4th or 5th, depends on that cold front, how strong it's going to be. It does warm up way high in the numbers. These are in the high 80s, even a little bit of 90s in there. So this is going to be very warm by the time all this energy meets up for this potential storm hurricane to form. Now, as I show you what's potential for what's going to form in the Pacific, this is a 0Z. Anybody that knows weather knows that when you get your 0Z and your 12Z, that is your best weather balloon information you can get. I will show you the 6 as well, and I will update with the 12 as it comes out later on my community tab. Now, the GFS is showing that this storm will form up quick over here in the Pacific, and it will get all the way down to 943 according to GFS and head towards southern Mexico, breaking down to a 952, a 979, a little bit east of Mexico City, right for Acapulco. Then after that, it's going to get that northward push because now you're looking at the 1st. You got a dry air out the way, and all this is still pushing towards the Western Caribbean, forming up. And as of the 0Z is still going over the Bahamas, strengthening up. And then we have that cold front coming down all the way to the 5th. And I will show you the update. And as it goes, the cold front suppresses it back. You have a big high pressure spinning out here also. Big high pressure of cold air. So it keeps it trapped. And it just spins there for a while and just strengthens up. Now the Euro shows that it stays weak the whole time and maybe go a little bit towards Acapulco, but it stays like a little weak tropical storm. It don't show any other intensity. And the icon model, just so we can have a third look, it does show that it does get all the way down to 970s, and it goes a little bit further to the east than what the Euro and the GFS is seeing. But it does agree that it does strengthen up a lot more than 990. But so far, the next 10 days of precipitation brings it towards Acapulco, where it could be up to 10 inches of rainfall. GFS takes it a little bit further to the east, like you saw with the icon, and it brings heavier precipitation a little bit further to the east. But the cold front coming down is really what's going to hit the storm. If it comes down to the south, it's going to keep it suppressed in the Western Caribbean, where it just stays there longer, keeps building, and maybe some more dust can come and maybe do something that's later on. But if it comes to the southeast, it's going to keep it suppressed like you've seen in the 0Z from GFS for today, where it just stays there and builds and gets blocked. Now, according to the Euro, this cold front is coming down towards the end of May, and it's coming way down all the way to the beginning of June. And we do have a trough at the same time. This is your NAO, your North Atlantic Oscillation, going up on high ridge. We're going to go down to a low trough when that cold air comes down to the southeast, all the way to the 1st. Now, the GFS is showing not only are we coming down with this cold front all the way to the end of May and the beginning of June to the 1st, it's showing it could stay all the way to the 5th and just sit there. That's why that storm sits there and just builds and builds and builds before it goes back away. And it does have a trough with that as well, as it comes down towards the end of May, getting all the way down towards the 5th. The 5th is where it's bringing the deepest of the trough, so the impact could be as far as the southeast, just like we've seen in the 0Z run from today. It would come all the way down to the south and southeast for a long time, and it will keep it suppressed right over the Bahamas. And you can see this with your MJO according to the Euro as we go into our 20s, with 7 being your west coast, 8 being your east coast. The cold air will be retracting back towards the west side of the U.S., but towards the beginning of June, it is coming down to the south and the southeast. So you have Texas, Louisiana, Florida, and these cold temperatures are coming down to the south and southeast, according to both weather models. GFS is showing it will stay longer, but Euro is confirming as well that this cold front is coming down to the southeast, and that's what's going to suppress it all the way from the 27th to the 3rd or the 4th. And you can see this on your potential velocity anomaly. It shows you your sinking air, which is all this red here for all this dust, or your rising air. And you can see right after the 27th, that sinking air is going to be gone. Then it's going to stay around the MDR all the way to the beginning of June. But you can also see that the big glob from the GFS is not together no more. Because not only is it getting hit with that sinking air, after that it's getting hit with the cold front all the way to the 5th. So it's trying over and over and over again to form up many times according to the GFS. And the euro is still bullish. It's saying no matter what, this is still going to hold together. And you do have a strong portion right here. As you can see, that goes down to that one that's going to hit Mexico. It's saying at the same time, we're still going to have a strong one over here. And this is going to be our wave coming into the Caribbean. So as soon as it gets away from this dust, it could start doing some formation. As well as what's coming off of Africa, it's showing it could also strengthen up anytime after the 5th of June all the way to the 10th. And it's not right on the edge, but you can see the sinking air leaves at the end of May according to both models. And the GFS shows after it goes up towards the Yucatan, it gets rid of all that dry air. Then the cold front hits it and pushes it to the southeast. And that's the cold front wrapping all the way around it, blocking it from doing anything and just keeping it there for days. Now, I'll put this link in the description for you as well so you can see it. This is from the Farmer's Almanac, and they are expecting a fair, then turning unsettled tropical storm threat for Texas, Louisiana coast from June 16th through June 19th. And that would make sense to the cold front suppressing it back. And that would keep it right around the Western Caribbean and then making his move and doing that northwestern turn that we've seen before. But I'm also going to put this link in there for you so you can go read about it and see how accurate the Farmer's Almanac actually is. It predicted all the snow that we had for the winter in the north. It predicted the east side of the U.S. being full of storms while the west side was not. It even predicted a storm we had in the northeast. Farmer's Almanac is very accurate. You can ask any gardener. The Farmer's Almanac is incredibly accurate. But I'll leave this for you so you can go read about all this yourself. And you can see here with all the dust we have going on right now, as well as what's coming off Africa. But you can see as it pulls forward that as we get towards the 27th, all this dust starts lifting up and gets away from the Caribbean, as well as a plume of dust that's over Africa, keeping that next wave a little suppressed. You can see that dust really don't follow along. It comes after it. So you have your wave coming next, and it's really getting chased by another plume of dust. So whether that next wave forms up is really questionable, because right now is when we have normally our outbreak of dust. At the same time, you can see it clears up in the Caribbean. And you can see that better here. You have all this dust still suppressing everything to the south, southwest, and we still have that flow going from the south to the north. So after all this sinking air passes through, you get all the way towards the end of the month, really the 27th and 28th, and it just dissipates. After that, you get to the 30th, and it starts rolling all this precipitation. More precipitation comes in and meets up with it, and that's when it has its chance to form and do something. And this is all going to meet up and head north. You can even see here on the possibilities of a tropical depression according to the Euro. Now you get your storm right in the Pacific towards Mexico, but after that, and you get towards the 1st, then it builds up rising air, and chances for a tropical depression can form better as it gets towards the 1st. And so far, Euro is showing that precipitation could go towards the Bay of Campeche, and that would confirm a little bit of possibility of a low pressure building up down there. And that is what the Farmer's Almanac is seeing, that could actually form up and be this tropical storm, this low pressure, get into our western Gulf. And you can see this on the 6Z run. You still have the storm from Mexico, but then all this energy still heads north. And it stays bottled up right over the Yucatan for days and just stays there the whole time and just bottles up. I will show you the 12Z on my community tab for today. The 12Z and the 0Z is the best one for weather data. So everything pretty much is still the same. I'm still showing after all this energy builds up in the southwest, creates a storm for Mexico. After the dust leaves on the 27th, 28th, this is still heading to the north. It all depends on that cold front. Is it going to come down for a few days, or is it going to last a long time? That's the only difference so far. So we'll keep you updated, but so far it's still headed north. The energy is all still headed north. We still have this storm coming, guys. So it's still a big potential for right on the money in between the July 3rd, in between July 8th for this storm, this hurricane to still form. The strength of it and the location of it is still a little off right now. Of course, it's still a little too far, but the information is still the same. It's still coming back. And just like I told you before, with the data, sooner or later the models will catch up. And they're starting to catch up again. That's what it does. I've done this for years. It always leaves, and then it comes back when it catches up with the data. And the data is showing that it's still there. This cold front is what we need to find out about and see how long that's going to be. Because that data is trending in all the models as well. So it is coming as well. But tell me what each one of you think. I value every one of y'all opinions. A lot of y'all are very smart and weather enthusiasts as well. So please let me know what you think about this. As far as the data, as well as the models catching up with the data finally. But thank you so much for visiting my channel. I do hope y'all have a very blessed day today. God bless every single one of you and keep your families very safe this hurricane season. Psalm 127. Except the Lord build the house, they labor in vain that build it. Except the Lord keep the city, the watchman waketh, but in vain. It is vain for you to rise up early, to sit up late, to eat the bread of sorrows, for so he giveth his beloved sleep. Lo, children are an heritage of the Lord, and the fruit of the womb is his reward. As arrows are in the hand of a mighty man, so are children of the youth. Happy is the man that hath his quiver full of them. They shall not be ashamed, but they shall speak with the enemies in the gate. Amen. Have a very great day today, guys. Enjoy your Memorial Day. This is still all the way until the beginning of June. Now, we'll keep you updated and I will stay on top of this data. And as we can see, the data is still the same. It's still getting suppressed and it's still going to move northward afterwards. So let's stay up to date on this. Once again, tell me what you think in the comments because I'm showing it's still trending the same information. Thank you so much, guys. Hope you have a very blessed day. And remember, all power, all honor does go to Yahweh, God of Jacob, our Father. And he'll keep you safe. He always has. He always will. No worries. Amen. Hallelujah. Have a very great day, everybody.